Yeah, but I agree with you guys. Sam X's team is definitely the worst. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while. But I am here with some of my elderly friends. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves really quickly?
Hi, my name is Jordan. Everyone's team's pretty good. Oh, I'm also drinking a blue margarita. It's got tequila, it's got blue curacao, because I haven't found a use for it since Halloween, and lime and other stuff. It tastes off the wall, so it's going to get interesting tonight.
That's fancy. All right, I'm Sukaba. I'm here for some draft review. I got my cream ale here, ready to go for some Pokemon talk. So I'm excited.
And the doctor.
Hey, what up? Oh, the doctor. ADB. James is here. Not a real doctor, but I've mostly given up on pushing back against that. We're drinking Miller Lite tonight.
And this is Goose. I just tried to interrupt the doctor, not doctor, so I'll probably gonna get a handful later for that. But I'm drinking protein shake, water, and maybe in the midst of the video I'll disappear for a couple minutes in silence and grab something else. But for now I need a little bit of protein in the system.
Splash a little vodka in there and you're set. All right. So new season, new format. Terra is going to turn everything upside down. It's going to be a really wild one. I agree with Jordan, though. I think all the teams are good. So even if we put you down in D tier, outside of Samax, it's a pretty good team. So we'll start off with Jace. Are we starting off with an S tier here? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think we are. So it's going to be tough to balance the scales based on this, but this team has a ton of power and a ton of tools. So Azumaril's got basically 150 attack stats, so don't look at those like stat averages with the huge power. Goldango is ruining everyone's day on the ladder. I'm not sure how good it is as a draft league Pokemon, but it's like got moves, it's got random coverage and stuff, so it'll probably be really good. And then like Volcarona is just got every utility move you could ask for and some of the strongest Terrify or Overheat. So yeah, just a ton of power and a ton of tools. Who wants to talk about tools? I don't know.
Well, I'll talk about speed real quick. Obviously, this team can go really fast. So Noivern's one of the fastest tailwind setters, which is really nice. And he has a little bit of a Trick Room mode. Azumarill is not, the biggest Trick Room threat in the metagame. Mudsdale, however, is very strong. The type chart also looks great. I will say I don't think the type chart is nearly as important this season. I don't think it's necessarily the most important thing ever, but especially this season with Terra, I don't think it's the biggest deal, but Jace's looks really nice.
True. Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how this Girafarig plays out, right? Because it gets Eviolite now. It's got some reasonable abilities. Can't be faked out. You can set your Trick Room, or you just imprison it or whatever. Normal and Psychic we've learned is great typing. And I think Girafarig has the potential to be a real useful role player for this team.
I think it's good. I mean, it's definitely pretty bulky. For a team that's not focusing on Trick Room, it's your solid one Trick Room setter. Jace did invest a fair amount into his Azumarill and Mudsdale, so maybe he could have gotten more Trick Room, but frankly, you can run Azumarill in all speeds, you can run Mudsdale and not go first, and it's totally fine. So it's more a fast mode oriented team with one pretty good Trick Room setter, so I'm down with it.
And Girafarig also gets imprisoned. Sorry, Sukaba, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just think he got really nice synergies. You could do so much here with leads, Rotom and Mudsdale could do a nice Disquake. You got Volcarona with Rage Powder to help Azumarill get off, a Belly Drum and start wreaking havoc with priority. You've got Noivern, who could also eat a Discharge next to Rotom with Telepathy. So I think he really did a good job at making sure his team had, nice lead synergies. So you never really know what you're going to expect when you play this team.
Yeah, I think overall the stats look really nice on this team too. The overwhelming attackers are going to be Azumarill and Mudsdale in certain situations, and then special attackers, Volcarona, I think being so flexible as a redirector and also as an all-out special attacker, I think in a lot of cases is going to be really big for Jace this season, and he got it pretty late, as I recall.
Any ways to beat this team? Because we've had glowing great stuff to say about it. The only thing I will say is that until they get up Tailwind, it's not the fastest team. It's kind of it's fast assuming there's Tailwind going on. But if you've got a Rock Slider above 86 speed, then you're beating the 2 Mons that are trying to set up Tailwind. So you can try to pressure this team with some scarfs, with some priority stuff of your own. So if it doesn't get into its ideal conditions, whether it's Trick Room or Tailwind, then it might just be a pretty good team. But that's like the worst case scenario, is that it's a pretty good team without speed control.
Yeah, no Intimidate on this team. And are there any screen setters?
A few, not any like super great screen setters. You're probably gonna just like struggle bug with Volcarona and Will-O-Wisp with it and stuff.
Yeah, so a really great team. I see a few holes in it. No, maybe I don't actually.
I don't know. This feels like your classic S tier right here.
Yeah, agreed.
Started off an S, really balance the scales.
So
Really
now we
helps
work
us
our way down.
read
from
everything
here.
else.
Yeah. We should start with like a middle of the road team next time, maybe. All right. So
Furret's team, looking middle of the road. Did I just say it? No, wait, that was the other division.
Yeah, next.
Ray's
up we
team.
have
Welcome to the division, Ray. Welcome to the league.
Welcome to the league. Prepare to be eviscerated. Oh, somebody else is posting them. Awesome. So I don't have
Yep.
to do that.
I'll-
Okay.
I'll change them.
Great. All right. So Ray's team. Take it away, Doc.
All right, so this team is also I like it. Honestly, it's got a lot of mons that I am interested in, but is not, I think, as like overall explosive, right? Like, I'm noticing that you've got like the Flame Body Colossal plus Well Baked Body, so like maybe we're gonna be putting a scarf on a Flareon and throwing Will-O-Wisps at our own Pokemon or something like that. Get some value out of these otherwise like kind of not that great Pokemon with interesting abilities. We've got the Frostlass Tauros pair, which has never been better than this water Tauros, right? Because we're now resisting the Frost Breath and stuff like that. Maybe we throw out some weak Surfs from I don't know. Does anything on this team actually learn Surf? Well, Tauros probably does.
Yeah.
Bruxis. Yeah, we got Dazzling as a sort of, hey, I didn't draft any fake out, but that's okay because yours is useless. Haha, you wasted your points. We got some good typing in terms of like we got a decent Fairy, Steel, and Dragon type. We got a Water and Fire, and who needs a Grass? But we have a Grass. We have Toedscruel. Which is, it's doing interesting stuff on the ladder here and there. It's got some fun stuff going on.
Yeah, Toedscruel and Darkspun. I think that Ray was going for value picks here, and I think they are value for what they were tiered. Maybe a little bit lower than they should have been, but I probably went a little bit earlier in the draft than I would have tried to take them. Would you guys agree with that?
Agree.
Especially on the Dashbun.
Yeah, I would say that was pretty early. Toedscruel, I would be okay with as a second
It's one
round
thing
pick
because
if you really wanted it.
Toedscruel's a pretty good redirector. Also, has a lot of tools going for it with the Spore as well. I like Toedscruel. The Dashbun pick, he did back it up later by getting a Lava Plume on, so he does have that mode available. But I feel like that mode is not going to be as polarizing as you would think in Draft League when you can plan for that in a way. But I guess, to spend 5 points or whatever he spent on those 2 mons to have that mode as an option is pretty good value.
I would say so, yeah.
I would say this team has several excellent Pokemon on it, which is like the start of a really good draft. Is like Gengar is great, and then I'm amazed that they got it late in the draft. Frostlass is great. Staraptor can do a lot of damage and intimidate. But this looks like a team that was drafted without looking at the Team Hawk, the lovely document that we're looking at right now, where it shows you all your type weaknesses. It's impossible to keep them all in your head. But this is a team with a fair amount of shared weaknesses, a fair amount of speed clumping. Like, if you're not keeping all the speed stats in your head, like, yeah, I'm gonna scarf my Mon to get 1 speed faster than Gengar, and then I've covered. Like, why would I not put all of my Mons, like, benchmarked off of that? Like, I'm faster than Gengar after Icy Wind. I'm faster than Gengar with the Scarf, stuff like that. So it's just like, it becomes like you have the same game plan to beat whatever Ray might be bringing. So that's like a bit of a problem, I would say. Like, Terrestrialization is going to mess up the type chart a little bit, but some things are fundamental, like going fast is generally going to be good, and it's pretty easy to game plan. Like, I'm going to go 110 speed +1, and I can go fast.
Yeah, this team doesn't have much in terms of a trick room mode either, so it wants to go fast, but it doesn't seem to really excel at going fast. I mean, where's the tailwind on this team? Staraptor, right? Is that the only one?
Hydreigon gets it.
And it's fine, but
Hydreigon
Hydreigon,
gets it as well.
True.
I would like it to be better.
But Hydreigon's one of the major offensive threats. I mean, Tauros is pretty threatening. I think Magnezone is actually really threatening, with Terra especially. Gengar is too, but hyper frail. So I feel like setting Tailwind with Hydreigon, yeah, it's going to work some weeks, but you want to be setting up or sweeping with that thing most of the time, I would think.
The stats overall are really high. They just seem like they're not working together quite as well as I would like. Like, I would like one super fast option. It doesn't need to be strong. If it's super fast and makes you threaten a different speed tier, like one super like bulky Pokemon here that like really allows you to end game well. I'm not sure I see that. So it's like a lot of like pretty strong, pretty fast attackers, but like it seems like the same game plan to try to just mow them down a little bit faster.
Yeah, and there's these little dual synergies in here, like Frostlass and Tauros, like Flareon and Darkspun, but I feel like...
Yeah, I love it. There's good stuff in here.
Which makes it a little bit harder to prep, but I feel like those synergies probably are not going to work out as well in actual play, especially the Flareon and Darkspun thing. But Flareon could be good with Terra, who knows?
Tier it.
All right,
Let's put it on a list.
I think this is a low B for me.
Yep, I'm putting the Apex Alolan Marowak into B as well.
Yeah, I think either high C.
It might end up in the C for me, just because the competition we're facing. But yeah, it's a good team. Like, and think like just changing out one mon that you find to be redundant with something that's just completely different is going to make this team, jump the tier list.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in C now, with the potential to bump it up later if it appears to be like the baseline team. But as of right now, I'm gonna put it in C. All right, so next up we have
the Big Man the Big Man. Oh, I've got that backwards. Big Man the Big Man. Greenwich Greninjas.
Welcome to the league.
Yeah, new coach.
This is a Garchomp team, huh?
It's indeed a Garchomp team. We start off with 2 ground immunities right off the Garchomp, so we know how that works.
I think he's got some really nice high tier threats here. Like Talonflame, Garchomp, and Rotom Wash are like a dream trio synergy wise. I feel like he's going to be able to put in a lot of work with those top 3. The rest of the team, I'm not quite as high on with the way they interact with the rest, but it's definitely not bad.
Yeah, Zoroark, I feel like just never works out for anybody. Maybe it will this season. I don't think Terra really helps it so much because you wanted to have that illusion up or whatever. Anyway, Quaquaval. Jordan, how do you feel about that one now?
It's good. That's all I have to say. I mean, like it's dummy easy to use, right? It scales for you. I really believe in it, even though other people were saying it's a little overpriced. It got drafted in both leagues. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I also agree. I think that Moxie and its priority and speed boosting moves, I think makes it really strong. And even if people wanted it lowered, how much lower could we possibly go? At 6 points, this is a first rounder, in my opinion, right? Maybe we can knock it down to 7, but I think 8 was just fine. Lumineon feels a little out of place. In my opinion, I don't know why we need that Storm Drain. You already have one of the best Tailwind setters.
And he has 2 Mons that want to be clicking water moves a lot of the time. So having
2 other water types. We're also tripling up on dark types as well. I think there's probably something can get dropped to maybe shore up a weakness or pick up another mode. There's not really a great Trick Room setter. Rabska's okay, I guess.
Let's just delete Lumineon off the dock because we don't need it. Like, we've got 2 good water types, we've got a good Tailwind setter, so this is a good team. Right.
Yeah, I mean, the base
pretend he doesn't have it.
The base attack stat on this team is absolutely nuts, and the special attack I feel like is a little inflated by mons that probably will end up not being quite as good as you'd hope, like Zoroark and Cacturne, I believe is the name of this Pokemon. I'm not even sure.
It's a Pokemon. Of all the Pokemon, it is one of them.
Also drafted in both leagues, correct?
We made the prize really attractive, 2 points. I'm not sure it's worth it, but we'll see.
Yeah. yeah, how do you guys feel about this team? Where are we putting it?
I'm missing a little bit of the like diversity of threats. Like I think there are like several outstanding Pokemon, but like just not quite the diversity that Jace has, which is tipping our scales a little bit. So I think it's going to end up somewhere in the middle. I just don't know. We haven't looked at the other teams
Who needs
yet.
diversity when you got Revival Blessing Rapska to just bring Garchomp back?
Yeah, I like how that's in both conferences. I don't think that's going to work out the way people think it is.
When we
really
talk
don't.
about that other
know.
team, I have some comments about that.
Yes, sir. Is this the Greninjas?
Yeah.
Correct.
God, I can't like match coaches with teams yet. I'm going to put it in C tier. I think it's a little bit below the last team that we looked at.
I'm going B personally. I think there's a little bit more upside, but we'll see.
Garchomp alone, right? All right, so next up.
A juicy first round 4-pointer. Who would have thought?
Dan, the mayor of Value Town.
Although considering how we saw the damage that Lycanroc did last season, I think it's a totally fine pick for 4 points first round.
I used to be all about Value Town when like leagues like had tier lists that were like very exploitable and like they just forgot that some low tier Pokemon are actually really good. But like I was like very involved in making this tier list, so all the tiers are like based on my biases. So there wasn't any value, but Dan found the value. Like I realized Lycanroc with priority plus ability boosting Accelerock is really good. Kilowattrel is one of the fastest Tailwind setters, and it's way better to be a fast Tailwind setter than in like a medium Tailwind setter. So like he's found some of the holes. I've already adjusted my tier list to adjust for it. He's got 2 great redirectors, managed to pick up Indeedee because nobody wanted it for some reason, but it's an amazing Pokemon. So he's got like great power off the King Gambit and the Lycanroc and the Glaceon and the Clawitzer. Clawitzer is an absolute nuclear bomb. Like they never intended to give this guy Stab because they already gave it Stab on its Dark Pulse and Aura Sphere with its ability. So it's just like it's one of the strongest dark types in the whole format.
Terrain Pulse as well.
Yes, it's going to be so strong. There's a ton of power on this team. Dan found the value.
Yeah,
I will say,
ahead.
I just want to add about his Indeedee pick. Obviously, at that point in the draft, Indeedee being there is kind of a crime, so I understand why he picked it up. I just think there is a little bit of weird synergy with some of his other mons that he had already picked, like Accelerock and Sucker Punch on King Gambit don't really synergize well with the Psychic Terrain, so he's going to have to play around that carefully on weeks that he decides to bring all those mons.
Yeah,
Well, you bring Own Tempo and Indeedee with Fake Out. It's a good Fake Out mon.
True.
Yeah, it is more versatile.
No,
than,
yeah,
than we
I hear
assume.
what you're saying, Subaru.
You've been all over YouTube in people's comments saying Glaceon is the truth. Everybody slept
Everybody
on
thinks I'm joking.
It is,
I'm not
though. It
joking.
is, though.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it is.
joking.
Well,
I'm dead serious.
I'm teeing you up.
I think Glaceon is going
Preach to us.
to work miracles this season. I mean, look at these stats, okay? And you might be saying, "Oh, but Daddy, it's an ice type." No, it's not anymore. Okay,
Not anymore.
it's whatever type you want. And if you decide to keep it an ice type, because you have a snow setter, this defense stat is getting boosted. This thing is insanely bulky. It can set up with Calm Mind, do a buttload of damage, landing blizzards in the snow. I think this thing is going to be an absolute menace. And what was it, 3 points, I think?
Yeah, it should have been 4. Whoops.
I honestly think it's even better than that. Was Jolteon 5?
It's slow. It doesn't have coverage without Terra Blast. It's
Jolteon
it's a little bit limited, but what it does very well. It should always be clicking Freeze Dry or Icy Wind or Terra Blast.
I'm not entirely sold on the theory. I get the theory. I'm thinking it might be one of those things where it sounds better than it will be, but I'd love to be proven wrong this season.
Yeah, I think it will be better than it sounds.
Okay.
That's just how I feel personally. I think this is a very interesting team. I really like what Dan did here. So, I mean, he started off trying to get those value picks, save points, and then spend them later on stuff like the NDD. I don't really know how to feel about this team, though, because you have stuff like Clawitzer, which on paper looks great, but you got to make this thing go first because it is very frail.
It's not. It's slightly above average bulk. I looked at the numbers.
All right, I'm going to cut that out.
It's like 55th percentile. Yeah, cut out and post.
Yeah, I'll cut it out.
Yeah,
Clawitzer amazing.
okay.
I should have drafted it.
I used Clauncher in Little Cup with a terrain setter that had Fake Out. Granted, it was not Psychic Terrain, and so the Fake Out was useful. But I thought it was great, right? Like, you give it a Scarf, and then it's fast enough to outspeed stuff, and I mean not fast enough to outspeed everything, but I think Mega Launcher plus Terra boosts plus 100 base power Psychic type or 120 base power Aura Sphere or what have you. I think Clawitzer is something interesting, and I think it's going to be an important member of this squad of 11 for sure.
I'm glad we loaded up all these important moves on the right side. Dan is a team lacking in several of the moves you would normally expect out of an amazing squad. But this is a team that knows what it wants to do, that it's very strong attackers with the support of 2 redirectors and or Tailwind or Trick Room. And it's what it does is so solid that it ignores traditional, this is not a team that can play any way, but the way it wants to play is going to be very compelling. So I think this is going to be one of our best teams. I just really happen to believe in Dan's drafting style, so maybe y'all will be slightly tempered, but I think it's very good.
Okay.
Yep, let's tier it. I'm going to put it high A with an eye to moving it up to S probably by the end.
There we go. James on my train.
Yep. No, I like the team. I think it's pretty sweet. I think we were all crazy to not notice that no one else had taken Ndidi, and
I think a lot of people also notice, but it's if it doesn't fit your plan, or sometimes in draft there are things you just don't want to take, even though it's good.
True.
Ndidi's the kind of mon that you change your plans for, right?
Especially
in
now
round
it's
5 when it's available.
I can say personally, I've used it before in draft, so I just kind of didn't want it. Believe me, I saw it on there and I thought about it, but it, sometimes
totally defensible. We're here to have fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the strongest argument for letting it go to round 5.
Yeah, but you probably had
anything,
10 other
right?
people do that too. Yeah, it's a great team. I put it in A tier for now too. I don't think it's quite up there with Jace's team, but it's not too far behind.
All right, who we got next?
It's Samax time, baby.
Shred 'em.
Samax team.
Best team in the
Despite
league.
the budding rivalry, this is an interesting team, but I think is a very promising team. So Umbreon, round 1 is kind of a meme. He did crush me in the finals with Umbreon, and it is a really good Pokemon with Terastallization. Become a random type, have amazing bulk, and you're going to be hard to beat. I don't really know the answers to that, but I'm going to try to help people who need to beat the Umbreon each week. But Ceruledge is going to be a really great attacker. Hatterene's a fantastic attacker. Lucario's a pretty good attacker. It's got all the priority moves. Jumpluff, great general support. So this is a team that's it doesn't smack you in the face with its weather mode or its immediate strategy, but I think this is a team that Samax has shown us to be a really good builder, and he has all the tools with this team. So I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I like a lot of these mons as well, particularly as individual mons. I'm not seeing tons of here's a really coherent team plan other than just 11 good Pokemon, right? We're looking at 3 different Trick Room setters with with 5 different types across those 3 mons, right? We got Stantler is now an interesting Pokemon with Intimidate and Trick Room and can hold an Eviolite now. Jumpluff is pretty sweet support, right? 110 base speed. Tailwind is about kind of the low end of where you want to be, but for setting Tailwind, but is totally acceptable and defensible. Electros, no weaknesses, interesting if nothing else. Pair it next to a ground type or a Terra ground type that has Earthquake, Copper something like that. Maybe we get that going. I think there's some interesting stuff going on here. Yeah,
the team can definitely go fast. Has a pretty decent Tailwind setter that's also redirection. And then has a strong Trick Room mode too. So as much as I wanted to shred Sam today, I think this team is decent. For me, this is the middle of the road team for this conference. It's strong, but not the strongest mons. It's got some setup. But not the greatest setup. It has redirection, but it's pretty frail redirection. It's nice that he can throw Tailwind in there, and there's a lot of cool support moves too. I actually think Jumpluff's really good. Umbreon, like Jordan said, is great. But I think taking it in the first round kind of hurts because there's a lot of other stuff that you missed out on that could have accompanied it really well. So yeah, for me, this is kind of like a B tier team.
I'm going more optimistic here. I think Umbreon's going to be really hard to beat with Terrestrialization, or even just the threat of Terrestrialization. And Sarah Ledge is just gifted. They like wanted this Pokemon to be great, and they gave it like amazing moves and amazing variety of moves. So yeah, I think there's a ton of like secret tech in this team that Samax can unlock, even ignoring the fact that it's piloted by a good coach. I think this is one of the better teams. I'm putting.
Quick question about Stantler. Can it use Eviolite?
Yes, it can.
Yeah.
Okay.
It rules.
I was so close to bringing it with my Annihilate team because you skill swap the Intimidate and trigger your own Defiant. It's pretty sick.
Interesting. Sukaba, any words on this one?
Yeah, I really like his Trick Room mode too. I feel like a lot of the teams we talked about so far, and honestly, like looking at this draft board with this format, Trick Room threats or like high offensive power mons under Trick Room were kind of hard to find on the board at a good value. I think Sam has a really good job here with his threatening Trick Room mode with a couple mons.
Yep, let's put it on the list. We got
Throw it
a
up.
million more teams to look at here. New York Ninetales. I'm gonna go A, but in much the same way that I'm looking to move Dan's team up, I might be moving Sam down to the top of B by the end of this.
Right now, it's top of B for me. It's pretty good.
Same.
Yeah, B sounds good to me. All right. Who we got next here?
We got Sly next.
Grimmsnarl Arcanine, I loved my ladder team with that. It could actually withstand the Paradox mons, but this is a new format now. This is a team that's like got a lot of defensive tools here. It's like got like a Bronzor and a Toxapex and a Chansey, and the top two that I just mentioned. It's like really, really defensive, and the Corviknight, an amazing
Corviknight too,
tool.
yeah.
Yeah. So so where's our win conditions here? Who's the one getting the kills? Sometimes it can be Arcanine. Like Arcanine's got the extreme speed. The Baxcalibur, yes, Daddy's on it. The Baxcalibur is going to do a lot. But this team might be struggling a little bit for offensive win conditions, but like it's got unlimited variety of functions with the Grimmsnarl and Arcanine, so we'll have to see how he plays it.
Grimmsnarl also functions pretty well as an attacker. I think that attack stat is no joke. And some Spirit Breaks getting launched off, and you don't feel great against a lot of teams that struggle against fairies.
The most disrespected 120 base attack stat in all of Pokemon.
Definitely. Yeah, I think Arcanine is going to be putting in some work as an attacker on this team. Like you said, it's kind of lacking some of the offensive prowess with a lot of other mons are more bulky and supportive. But you have to remember that Arcanine can set up as an attacker, and with Terra, threatens to be a normal E-speed spammer with a pretty high base attack stat as well. So with that, coupled with the screens, he's got a lot of options to set up a couple different mons. Plus, you got Cyclozar if he wants to, shed tail into the Spastra, have a sub setup, get some speed boost, protect, set up with that. He's got the tools to set up mons, play a bulky offense, drawn out game, and pick up some wins from becoming unbeatable with setup.
Pather looks scary. Done right.
Got a lot going for it. Yeah, lots of tech, speed
I
boost.
know very little about Espathra. Can you fill me in on what this thing does, please?
It's fast and it's speed
Signature
boosts.
move.
And then it's got stored.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's got Lumina Crash, which is the mood that halves your special defense. And it's like normal power. So it's like fake tears and a normal power move at the same time.
I think
So
it's
yeah,
beyond
it
normal
scales with
power.
itself. Yeah, it's 80
really
base power. So it's just very good. With the Arcanine flamethrowers afterwards would be picking up basically anything. But like it's getting free boost. So like you don't need to invest in speed. The free boost plus Calm Minds means you're getting amazing stored powers. It's like gonna sometimes get KO'd before it gets to do any of that crazy stuff, but like sometimes it's gonna be a big threat. And so I think you need to target it, which means you're not targeting Arcanine, which means you're not targeting Excalibur or Corviknight.
Yeah, true.
It's like a mon that
Definitely
hates.
attracts attention.
Boom, welcome to the call. Quick, give us your thoughts on Baxcalibur on this team.
I'm kind of weird about Baxcalibur. I don't know what to think of it. I don't like its type.
Yeah.
It just destroys every other pseudo legendary that's weak to ice. I'm skeptical if it can carry a team. Might, but I mean, who's this? Do we have a Tailwind setter? Corviknight maybe?
Yeah, and Grimmsnarl, like his scary face and whatnot.
I'm a pretty big fan of Baxcalibur, honestly. I think the thermal exchange really carries a lot of weight in making Baxcalibur as good as it is. You could Terra Steel and remove that fire weakness because you're getting the advantage of thermal exchange with that as well, which makes it a really threatening steel type with 145 base attack and good defensive stats. So, I mean, I think Sly is a good coach. He'll make good use of the Baxcalibur.
Yeah,
They insisted that Baxcalibur be good. They're like, I know ice typing's not great, but like we're gonna give this guy all the best stats and all the best
Definitely.
tools.
They put Terra in the game just to help Excalibur.
Pretty much. Skeptical, though.
Are we ready to put this one on there? Do we have anything else to say here? I think it's a really strong team.
We're probably
Putting it right around Samax's team, though. If you don't have it in A, then it should be an A. I think.
I think this is a low A.
Does Donphan still get Ice Shard or not?
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. All right, nice.
Yeah, I think this one, I like Dan's team a little bit better. I do like this team better than Sam's, though. All right, moving on.
We're onto our second division now. Looking at Violet division here.
Ooh, nice. That was quick. We got through 6 pretty good.
Yeah, we got through 6 pretty good.
Not at all.
We got through 6 pretty good.
Hey, we got through 6 pretty good. Returning coach, although new to the VBLS, but played in VBLN, I believe, for at Bang, or did they play in?
He played in VBLS.
He played last season, right?
Yeah, he played one season like a few
VGC.
seasons ago. Played great, got a winning record, then just barely missed playoffs because popping his plot armor, and then now he's back.
That's right. It was the BDSP season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's why I lost last season. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Took the sushi.
Yeah.
Gonzo Tatsugiri to start us off here.
Both usable
I've
Pokemon, so
moved
you
on
don't
to
need
the
to
next
lean on the duo, which I think is a meme, and I don't quite understand why it continues to win on ladder.
I was like, where are we? Okay, we're on the next. Okay,
Yeah.
good job.
We're on the next sheet.
Sorry. All right, I'll cut this out in post. Yeah, so Annihilate. Jordan, do you like Annihilate?
Annihilate's really freaking good.
I heard you
Holy
liked it.
crap. It's got all the stats and all the moves and like Rage Fist. So what else can you ask for?
I feel like this Pokemon is an instant first overall pick if I have first pick. Personally, I agree with you. I think this mon's super strong. The stat line is just insane. It has Final Gambit if you like run out of ideas. Rage Fist is insanely broken. And then it has a Gen 1 move pool also where it just has everything. This thing seems crazy strong. And I have to play against it week 1, which is really annoying.
I'll say that like its Rage Fist encourages it to play defensively. Like every time you hit it, but you don't KO it, then you're powering up Rage Fist. So like sometimes it get like it's merely a very good Pokemon when it's not trying to abuse Rage Fist. So just like either hyper offensive, kill it, or just like try to like burn it and don't worry about it because like if it's not Rage Fisting, then it's merely pretty good. But this is a team that's got plenty of stuff. I'd say you don't have to win with the Annihilate with this team. Like not only the sushi combo here, but Caesar has like one of the strongest priority moves in the game, and it's got Tailwind, so that's a major buff. I mean, I know it had it in the past, but it's got it again, and that's really good.
I think Scissor was really good value for 6, honestly. Probably should have been 7.
Agree.
I think a lot of the success of this team is really relying on that sushi combo. And we're going to see this season, because it's in both conferences, we're going to see how good it actually is in draft. I'm a little higher on it than most, I think. I considered taking it myself. But, yeah, otherwise, if that combo proves to be too easy to stop, I think this team is looking weaker than if it's as strong as he probably expects. That's my assessment.
I think it will be pretty relatively easy to stop. We'll see if Farhat proves me wrong week 1. But it's just when it surprises you on ladder, that's one thing. But when you know it has a chance of coming, you can bring a couple things to deal with it, right?
Right.
In my opinion, I'm not saying you're gonna nail them every time. I'm sure Farhat's a good coach. We've seen Farhat play, so there might be workarounds here. For me, these first 3 are really scary. I think Mimikyu is excellent. I think that was a really good late round pickup, and I also think Cryogonal is very, very good. It is an
Yeah,
ice
so-
type, which sucks, but it has a great
Season of
moveset.
the ice type, right?
Yeah, it's fast. It sets screens, and it has good special defense. It's definitely a Terra option with Levitate. You know, you throw Electric Terra on there, and it's no weaknesses. So I think this team has options. I feel like the Sushi combo kind of holds it a little bit lower, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Tatsugiri Dodonzo is gonna kind of be like a Shuckle Chansey or a
Better than that. Come on.
well,
You're
no.
definitely better than that.
I'm making
Good
a point
saying.
here, right? Or like a Wheezing Gigas or a Wheezing Slaking, like something that is always like the threat of it is always there on the team.
Mhm.
But and so as a result, your opponent is always going to have to take it into consideration, no matter what. And then if you don't feel like bringing it that week, you just load up on other stuff, and then your opponent has 3 wasted move slots or
Yeah.
1 whole wasted Pokemon or whatever, right?
And that's
It's the kind of thing that just demands your respect as the opponent, even
If you bring it
not-
once every 4 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at, right? So I'm not saying it's the same as Shuckle Chansey in the sense that like that's how good it is, but in the
It's-
sense that it's something that has to be in your brain.
It's what,
I'd
like
make the case
20%,
that-
20% of your points to bring not every
That's
week,
true.
though, right? So
well, but
Dondozo is a totally acceptable Pokemon,
Yeah,
right? Like a
they're
Trick Room
nice.
Sweeper with Curse and stuff, and Tatsugiri can like Specs or Scarf or whatever.
that's what I'm getting at here. Is like these are
Water
2
types are good.
Pokemon that are pretty good even without the Sushi combo, right? Like you have Storm Drain with 120 special attack. I don't know if is there any other mon on this team that learns Surf to have a potential Storm Drain Surf combo with 120? But like Dondozo, like you said, Jordan, is like perfectly fine threat under Trick Room. Like
Yeah.
bulky, 530 base total, water
So, I mean,
type, 100.
Dodonzo
100
learned
attack.
Surf, but
um,
I mean, hey, that could be. Imagine you see those 2 come
just
out
Storm
and
Drain.
Commander doesn't activate.
Goose, how do you
Dude,
feel
that would
about
be so nuts.
how do you feel about the babies on this team, Toad School and Impidimp? How do you feel about
I
those?
love this approach, and it's not only because Farad and I share 4 of the same Pokemon, and so we generally had a similar team concept here. But like, if you're gonna invest in great attackers, and then for your supports, it's the moves that count, right? They don't have great stats. Sometimes they run Focus Sash, but like Toad School has to demand some respect, and if you don't respect it, you're gonna get spored sometimes. And Impidimp has to demand a little bit of respect. Like it does have Prankster screens and Fake Out and everything else. So like I really do like this approach to drafting, right? Investing quality attackers and then whatever support you need for that given week, whether it's a redirector or a Fake Outer or whatever.
I don't know if I believe in supports anymore.
I
Maybe that's just me.
yeah, I'm
Supports
not
are
as high on
overrated,
it.
which is why I like that he invested in good attackers in the front 6.
Yeah, it's fair.
I feel like you're insulting me personally. My favorite thing in the world is my mid-speed support
8
Pokemon.
supports. the
I also
James
hate
way.
Protect. It's the worst move in the game.
All right, let's tier this baby. Let's
Yeah.
tier this team right here.
We crowd in the A tier.
Brown Paladins.
Yeah,
I think this ranking kind of depends on how you feel about the Sushi combo. I'm gonna put it as a low A, below Sly's team, just because I believe.
yeah. I'm gonna put it above Sly's team, but also Sly is in B for me, and I think I'm gonna cement Samax as an A tier and no longer look for reasons to to bring him down to B.
I'm putting it at top of B. I don't know. I like Sly's team. I also really like. I mean, this is a great team too. So it's kind of hard for me to place this one. Also, this list means nothing, and I'm not the smartest guy. So,
Speaking of the list means nothing and you're not the smartest guy, guess who's next?
Here
the
we
smartest
go.
guy, the handsomest guy.
So we didn't get a daddy draft breakdown yet.
It's coming.
So why don't you give us the free preview version right
Okay.
here?
Meowscarda for 7 felt really strong. I think it's really versatile. It has a much wider move pool than latter games would have you believe. It felt like a really strong first pick overall. And then Sylveon was there, coming back. And I've picked it 3 times now. It's the only mon I've ever picked more than once. And it's just, it's the best fairy. it's chunking out damage consistently. It just feels like a very consistent mon just to have on any team. And at the beginning of this draft, I had no game plan. So went with that. Tauros as a fire fighting with Intimidate. There wasn't a lot of Intimidate on the board. This one felt really strong, pretty fast, hits pretty hard, really good move pool. And then Slowking, because I wanted Trick Room, I wanted a water type, I wanted something bulky, and I wanted something that could set up ice. So I actually talked about maybe taking Abomasnow too, but it got drafted sometime before it. So then I could get the Titan in there. Dragapult fell to me. It's insane. Everybody that's hating on Dragapult is absolutely nuts. This Pokemon is so good. High attack stat, decent special attack stat, not great bulk, but it also sets screens, really good support. Yeah, Appleton, insane value. Reverum was kind of a tricky steel type that I can use in a few different ways. Braviary, just bulky, Tailwind, also Defiant, because my team's pretty heavy on the attack side. And then, yeah, Diglett and Sudowoodo exist. Diglett can trap stuff occasionally. Sudowoodo has Head Smash.
Do you have a pair song mode? Does anybody on this get... Oh, Sylveon probably does, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. Maybe not. But, I don't know. Yeah, this is a team that's got some interesting stuff on it, right? Sylveon, one of 3 fairy-type Moonblasts legal on the draft board, and 1 non-fairy-type Moonblast in Altaria. So I'm definitely with you on Sylveon is like an important part of this team.
Terra Blast does more damage, actually.
Oh, on Sylveon specifically.
Yeah.
Because of the Pixelate. Gotcha. Yeah, of course. I do like the, you can run Hyper Voice, Terra Blast, and then Terra into something else if you don't need the single target or, nothing soundproof or whatever. And just, change your move mid battle is pretty nice.
I'm gonna highlight 2 great pieces for this team, and they're not Dragapult because Dragapult mid, but the Titan. This is a Titan, which I've already talked about in a previous video of mine, but like it's got so many different modes. We got the Slowking, which is a great pairing, the ability to get it in with Snow, but like also we got a great Sheer Force attacker, and we got a potential thick fat like belly drum sweeping. I really wish we had redirection for this Titan. I really wish we had fake out for this Titan. I think there's a little bit of lacking in support for some of these great pieces, but sometimes, support's overrated. You just throw out 2 great threats and they can't really deal with both of them at once. I think Sylveon Titan or Dragapult Titan, Tauros Titan, it'll be hard to beat both of those things at once. And the other thing, Meowscarada was a tiering mistake. I think people have shown how easy it is to use Meowscarada, and we should have bumped it up a point or 2.
Yeah, again,
it's really, really great.
Yeah, how much are you going to change? I guess maybe it's at 9 is fair, but really it seems like an 8-pointer. But how much difference does
for us? Tiering mistakes are 1 point.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh no! But yeah, Meowscarada, they gave it a gifted starter move pool, like a lot of different stuff. It's not like overpowered. It doesn't have every move, but it's going to be very hard to predict whether it's going for the like banded flower trick or whether it's just going to Trick Room or Ally Switch on you. It's like a very versatile Pokemon. And I think it was a totally justifiable round 1 pick.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, that's kind of why I say I'm over supports. Using my team last season, I feel like using bulky attackers also to function as supports occasionally catches people off guard because they kind of don't know who to target. They kind of don't know who to throw the fake out at, kind of catch people on their back foot slipping sometimes. So I don't know. It was fun last season. I wanted to try something kind of similar this season.
I love the speed tiers on this team too.
So this is a team I think would benefit from a little. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Dragapult, it's defensible on this team. I'm okay with your choice here. But this is a team like I really wish it had a couple of support tools for some of the amazing offensive pieces here. Like Reverum click steel moves. That's its job, is to like shift gear, click steel move, or click the spin out steel move. And like I really wish you could really go in on some of these amazing offensive threats by just clicking fake out or redirection or something else, or prankster screens or something. I wish you had a little bit, and I think there is still some cheap rage powder on the board for you to get, Daddy, but like there's like a ton of great stuff here, and sometimes just the threat of 2 attackers on the board is going to be good enough to get you the win.
That's what I'm hoping. You guys ready to tear it, or did anybody
Yeah,
not
let's
chime in?
try one.
Boom, did you want to chime in on this one? Eviscerate me a little bit.
I think it's well spread out. I definitely think it's going to be a team that you're not going to know what to expect every week, and that's huge.
I'm putting it
Definitely.
just below Samax, which for me is the top of B tier because I have great inflation, but it's up for you.
Yeah, mine's top of B as well for this one. It's pretty good.
I think I must value things differently because I slapped mine right, second in S. But
Well, then Goose, you didn't speak up much. What excites you about the team?
Speed tiers, just like every mon on the team is solid, except Diglett. I mean, sure, it's got Arena Trap, but I mean, I don't think Diglett's ever shown up. Pseudo Wudo too is like iffy in my brain, but like every other mon on the team is like, I don't know. I'm also like super wide team. I just love wide teams. I think it makes it harder to prep for. Granted, there's the argument to be made where if you have a solid team of 6 and the other 5 on your team are just never coming, but the 6, like the combo of 6 that you have, are extremely tough to stop. That's really good too. But I don't know. I think wide teams can make it extremely difficult for the opponent to prepare, and then based on like the speed tiers that are here, and even though like you don't have the fastest tailwind setter in Braviary, which is basically like the definition of average speed, I think like I think Dragapult has the speed to either slow down the game enough between screens, or breaking swipe to drop attack, whatever you want to do with it. It can be pretty supportive and not necessarily be an attacker, to allow like Satitan or even like Sylveon and Meowscarada to kind of just get going. So I don't know. And again, based on my values, but I think this team is so overall well-rounded that I think it'll be tough to stop. But that's just me.
One last note, I'm bumping this team up a little bit because it's not weak to Intimidate. Like, we act like Intimidate's not a great ability still because, like, there's Clear Amulet, but this team has Defiant because you pointed out Braviary. It's got Clear Body with Dragapult. It's got Meowscarada, which crits through the Intimidate drops, and then it's got, like, Sylveon, which doesn't care. So, like, this is, like, I do like the diversity of threats here. I wish there was a little bit more support, but, like, this is a good team, Daddy. Well done.
2 words I want to say before we move on. Appleton. All right. We're ready for the next one.
We need some clarification.
That might be like 1.5 words. I'm not totally convinced those are 2 separate words.
Nobody's going to come in on Appleton? Come on now. That thing's a beast.
It's good. That's all I have to say.
For sure.
right.
Good value.
Time to talk about the Minchies, I guess. Yeah.
Oh,
James's team.
All right. So I guess I'll talk about my team here just a little bit, right? So I did a 15-minute video talking about my team. This
Loved
I think
it, by
is
the way.
an overall the video or my
Yeah,
team.
it was great. The video, not the team.
Thank you. I'm also I'm very happy with the video.
I love the video too, for what it's worth.
I'm a little underwhelmed by the team I drafted. I think I have some stuff that's like pretty solid, right? These top 5 here, I quite like. And then like there's a reason to like each of these other Pokemon, but they don't necessarily form the like super coherent squad of 11 that I would like them to form, right? There's a lot of like very glaring weaknesses across on a lot of these Mons. They're not sharing weaknesses too bad, right? I mean, we got kind of a silly fighting thing going on here where 9 of my 11 Mons interact with the fighting type in some way or another. But I mean, in a Terra world, the type chart has never been less relevant. But like we've got a very, very specially weak Avalugg here. Muck and Houndoom, as silly as it sounds, are kind of like got some similar stuff going on, particularly in the offensive poison world, right? Because Houndoom has like a pretty strong sludge bomb that can it can tear into poison if it needs to. I do like the Mischievous. I think it's the correct choice over Miss Magus at that 3-point level. I think they were both 3 points. Whatever, they were both the same number of points. Stuff I do like. I love my double fake out. Right, I've got 2 really good fake out users. Some good redirection. I wish I had a little bit better ways to take advantage of it, but like I've got Salamence can Dragon Dance, Gardevoir can Calm Mind, Houndoom can Nasty Plot, Avalugg can Body Press, Avalugg can Terra into fighting, can Terra into Steel and throw out some Heavy Slams maybe. So I think even some of these Pokemon that I'm like kind of down on like have useful things they can do. Vaporeon can Calm Mind, but it's not my favorite team I've ever drafted by any means. But
I think Mousehold is just excellent. Mousehold is unbelievably good. It's very versatile, right? You can run Technician, Population Bomb, and kill basically everything. You also have Friend Guard, Follow Me, which is just insane to have those 2 options on one Pokemon in itself. Then you can also throw Super Fang on there. This mine is very good. If Annihilate is an instant first overall for me, this is the instant second overall. Vaporeon, I also really like Vaporeon, but I feel like on a team that already was not struggling against water types, there might have been another bulky water maybe to go for, because water absorb is not really helping your team, right? So maybe there could have been something else to fill that role. Although I believe in Vaporeon this season, not as much as Glaceon, but I think it's good.
So I was looking at some other water types. The issue is the very expensive water types are all physical attackers, and I really wanted it to be a special attacker, just because I have plenty of physical attackers, right? Muck,
that makes sense.
I mean, I didn't have Muck at the time, but Avalugg, Hariyama, Salamence is often going to be physical. Mousehold is physical, so.
I also like Vaporeon, just to kind of give Vaporeon a little bit of love here, as a Hazemon in the division that has the sushi combo. So I think that's probably a nice option to have in the bag.
Right.
I
love the number 1 pick, Echo Daddy here. It's an amazing round 1 pick. And maybe unlike James here, I wouldn't say there's a big gulf between the first half and the second half. I'd say mostly all of these Pokemon are Pokemon that I believe are draftable. I'd say the concern, which James also noted in his video, is like it's a little unclear what this team wants to do. It's not super strong in any one dimension, which means you have tools, but like it's not overwhelming you on the offensive front, at least not turn 1 a lot of the time. It's a little bit it's going to use Fake Out a lot, and you can cover Cloak. It's like it's a little bit slow in some areas, and so it's just it seems like it's the team that's going to like fall like a little bit short of where you need it to be, despite having all these good Pokemon, because it doesn't like overload you in offense or doesn't overload you in defense. Or maybe the Mousehold is so good that it's gonna actually bring this team into the great levels. But I'm a little bit stuck trying to figure out what the team's game plan is.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
I think this team, I mean, I think your first 5 picks were excellent, to be honest. Like
Agreed.
Those first 5 Mons that you have, like if you probably asked me at that point who had the best draft, I probably would have said you, because that is an absolutely godly first 5 picks of your draft. I think this team's maybe 1 or 2 free agent moves away from being like a top tier team and a really threatening one to prep against. As of right now, if I were playing against this team in prep, I would probably expect those top 4 and probably Persian to be coming to the match, and then one of those remaining 5 to kind of fill in that last slot. So I think maybe making a move or 2 to get some more synergy for the team with those top 4 that are so good would go a long way with making this team much more threatening.
This is where I'm gonna push back on you, Sukaba, because despite the fact that you've had lovely comments all video, what are you supposed to drop on this team? All these mons are pretty good, but like, how do you make this team more extreme? How do you make this team overpower the opponent? Like, it seems like I don't know what to drop, because I think they're all pretty good, but none of these mons just really demand your attention, except for like some of the top.
Well, I think James said it himself, and you said it too, is like these are 11 very good individual Pokemon that all have their own niche that they fill. I think maybe for this team, the free agent move won't become clear until a few matches have been played and you kind of see what you're missing and what you might need, and then at that point it would be a little easier to decide what's the dead weight here that you'd be able to swap out to get a little bit better synergy. Because I kind of agree with you in that regard, where it's hard to make that decision because it doesn't really seem like there's clear dead weight right now because it's kind of all good. So maybe this is a team that needs a couple weeks to experiment and see what's going to work.
All right, let's put it on the tier list before this just comes the sequel to my my draft video. I'm gonna put myself on the cusp of top of C, bottom of B, above Greenwich Greninjas and Apex Alola Marowaks there.
I'm putting you above Greenwich Greninjas, which for me is B tier.
Bottom of B tier for myself, and then Greninjas and the Marowaks. At
the Protect Garchomp team. Yeah, I think I like James's team a little bit more than that one. Okay.
All right. Moving on to the recently rebranded Danish Pun team, coached by Electric, Shellgauntbeat.
I got this pronunciation guide one time. It's Shellgauntbait.
Oh, I was close. I was just guessing.
I was guessing in the beginning. Yeah.
I have a comment to open with about Palafin in draft. Listen, I used a little bit of Palafin on the ladder when the game first dropped. I think it's a really sick mon, the way that it's able to, become a literal legendary Pokemon with those stats after switching out. I think it's just so one-dimensional in the sense that in order to unlock that part of the Pokemon, you're literally required to have it enter the field and then switch out and come back in order to do that. Now, it does get Flip Turn, which helps with this, but I really think that sort of makes it like a one-trick pony in that way, where you kind of have to lead with Palafin, or if you're going to put it in the back, you have to play very carefully to make sure that you don't end up in an endgame scenario where Palafin hasn't had a chance to enter and re-exit to activate the 0 to hero. Yeah, so I'm not so sure that it lived up to the 9-point value that it had on it, but the rest of the draft, I think, sort of filled in nicely. I'm just very skeptical about the Palafin in draft.
Palafin feels like Palafin's going to be like a mind game at the beginning. Is he going to protect? Is he going to flip turn? Or is he just going to raw tag it out, right? And I feel like you're kind of putting the game into your opponent's hands for that turn, right? Do they call me out or not? And it's kind of win or lose. Not 100%, right? You still have 3 other mons if something gets eviscerated from the field. But for me, it just feels a little bit too much, almost RNG. Like, how is my opponent going to respond to this kind of thing? Do they ignore it, assuming I'm going to protect? Do they call the switch? Right? What do they hit me with? And you can definitely play mind games with that, but I feel like you're giving your opponent a little bit too much of the power. Does this make sense, or am I just rambling?
Totally. So the way people are running Palafin on ladder is they're committing to like the rain offense, like they're bringing the Pelipper, and they're just saying they're like, your rain boosted Jet Punch. Yeah, it's going to be awkward getting me into hero mode, but like the rain boosted Wave Crash or Jet Punch is just so powerful, and you can't really deal with water types because they're in general one of the best types. Like, I really wish Electric had committed to the Palafin rain mode or the Armarouge like expanding force, or like he's got like the Klefki rain setup, but like this is a team that really wants to be balanced, that I think like he's got some great picks, the Salazzle, the Bronzong, but like I really wish he committed to some of his best Pokemon even more. And so it stays a pretty good team because the best stuff is just kind of out there, while this team could have had a fundamental identity that was going to be really hard to stop.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, like, maybe instead, like, as a 9-pointer for Palafin, like, imagine, like, if he took in DDF to have that combo with Armarouge instead. Is like, I just feel like those 9 points maybe could have gone to something better. That being said, like you said, Jordan, I mean, the rest of his team he filled out with really good value and complementary mons. It's just the Palafin that's holding this back for me from being a really, really strong team.
I want to jump in and say I think he kind of did go all in on Palafin, just from what I'm seeing, because Klefki, I'm assuming, still gets Rain Dance.
It does, yeah.
You can set the rain mode there, and water only has 2 weaknesses, correct? Electric and grass.
Yeah.
He has 3 Pokemon that have immunities to those types. He has Jolteon, Goodra, and Go-Go.
The only Pokemon that shares any weakness with Palafin is Flamigo, and he's got 6 grass resists and 2 immunities, 2 electric resists and 2 immunities, and like a lot of the, like, I mean, Bronzong doesn't really care if it's gonna take a a Volt Switch or a Thunderbolt, right? Like it can take one and it's like, I'm fine. Same with Klefki, right? Like the defense for just like the hard switch is also there for sure.
This is why we share the call. Yeah. So this is a team that can slow the game down with the screens and with some of the tools you guys mentioned, so that like we don't need to bring the Palafin in turn one, and we don't like lose that much. If we're gonna like flip hard switch and light screen, we can deal with it.
Yeah, other than the Palafin, Armarouge is super strong, can set Trick Room.
Great.
But they don't have a great... Electric doesn't have a really great Trick Room mode here, right? The team generally seems to want to go fast.
I do agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, but then fast is Flamingo set in Tailwind.
Fair.
The fastest is Klefki clicking Thunderwave.
Yeah, no, I think
That's a problem in itself.
with the screen playstyle, though, I imagine Klefki's pulling a lot of weight here as far as support goes. When you're running screens, I think you're less worried about the speed control aspect, and you're more worried about enabling your Mons to be in good position to like win endgame scenarios. So I think maybe that's why Klefki is such an important part of this team, is that he is a little lacking in the other speed control, because like you said, Trick Room does not have a lot of threatening sweepers, and the only way to set Tailwind is Flamingo. But, you know, you do have speed control itself in addition to the screens on Klefki with the Thunderwave, like you said. So I think Klefki's a big player here, and I'm very high on the Mon. I love it.
Lock kick's
Klefki
also a
rocker.
really nice priority stab move, so good Mon.
Yeah, as long as Jolteon or Salazzle lives one hit, they're good Pokemon with good attack stats.
This team's
Put 'em
feeling
on
kind of middle of the road for me
Yeah,
here.
whatever.
I think it's better than Sam's team.
I think so,
I'm going to put it in between.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I
Yeah.
don't have any D tiers. Let's change that.
I've got mine down low.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Just-
slide myself down
I will say
here.
that the coaches
I'm
this
gonna
season
put-
did a great job.
Yeah, the
Put
teams are
Electric
good.
right
Yeah,
above mine.
the teams are good.
Top
So
of
it's
B tier
hard.
for me.
I might move them around a little bit to even them out. Oh, this is pretty even.
Well, we still got 2 more to tier. We can find a real stinker.
All right, who's
All right,
next?
we got next. We got Mono Mallard and the Wedgehurst Whimsicots.
This might be the D tier.
First pick Sableye. How dare you?
It's good. Pelipper Beartick carried me to 1600 on ladder. It's so good. Water type Beartick is the best rain abuser there has ever been. Except maybe
That's
Palafin.
a claim. That is certainly a statement.
That's such an awkward Mon to have Swift Swim. I had no idea.
All right,
It's
so
so
let me-
good. Like literally, Beartick covers everything. I've been so impressed with it. I'm not sure if it really holds up, but like it's got Play Rough, it's got Earthquake, it's got Close Combat. It's like actually a very good book.
Yeah,
but
well,
Also,
130
you have
base
Swift
attack.
Swim,
I
but
can
it's
back
only
that
base
up.
50.
I can back that up after in Jordan.
Yeah, only
Let me
base
list
50.
some
that's
things
true.
that I love about this team that you all think I overvalue. How about that? Three fake out users. Raichu gets follow me again.
doesn't.
Ignoring Trick
No,
Room.
it doesn't. Does it?
Oh, this is the wrong format on this draft.
I
Okay,
was gonna
hold on.
say, God.
Okay, phew. Okay. 6 Encore users.
gross.
The whole team's support, though.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
the damage? That's what I'm wondering.
Two good Tailwind setters. Sableye, my true love. Amoongus. I know a lot of people are Amoongus haters, but not
think
me,
it's-
maybe.
Yeah.
It's good.
Tinkaton, great typing. All right, so I think the things I listed, you all hate less than I set you up to hate. But
And there's just not enough offense for me.
I agree.
What's the Trick Room answer?
Among Us, I guess.
Among Us.
Among Us is a solid.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
to give that thing high speed spores.
I mean, Camerupt in Trick Room itself, can fire off eruptions, or the thing does some damage. It was pretty good for me in BDSP, but
Right. But I mean,
For
this
me, it
team
just-
overall looks like it wants rain.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It just feels like there's a little too much investment in support as far as his points went. Like Raichu, Pelipper, and Sableye was, I don't know, I don't know the math on that, but that had to be a good chunk of his point. I feel like maybe one of those towards a strong attacker that could utilize the support that he already had with the other two would have been maybe a little bit better investment of his points, especially since
Right.
I also forgot Amoonguss.
Exactly.
That was 7 points, right? So maybe cutting back on some of those supports in favor of offense would make this team a lot more balanced in my eyes.
28 points.
Right.
Fully half the point total
Exactly, on support, which
went into.
to
Those
me is
support
not
mods
the
become
best.
an
Those
way.
four
attacker and make
support
this team better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Or make a trade, honestly, because these are mons that people will want for sure.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that, Mono, if you're watching, try to push one of these off on somebody. People are gonna want Raichu, Sableye, or Amoonguss for sure.
That being said, I think as far as which ones to keep, I mean, if he's really committed to the rain mode, you probably want Raichu as a part of that.
And then definitely Pelipper, right?
Right. So I'd say either the Amoonguss or the Sableye, decide which one you want to be more in your plans and maybe try to make some sort of swap if possible. Or, prove us all wrong and roll with it and dominate.
You could get a pretty juicy offensive mon for Amoonguss, I would imagine, from somebody.
And Beartick is really strong, and it has a really cool move pool, like Jordan talked about. But that and Golduck as your rain sweepers are not the most threatening, right? Raichu firing off thunders these things they're doing damage, but they're not. It's not Garchomp, right? It's not.
Can't be the only offensive threats here.
Yeah.
Scyther being one of your best offensive pieces is not really what you want to be going for.
No.
Breloom is available at 7 points. Could swap out for the Amoonguss.
Yeah, there you go.
I kinda like
That's the
that.
kind of
I
thing
do.
you want,
That
yeah.
would be big.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
with 4.
Because
Right.
close combat, it's like a better close combat, and it's bullet seed and whatnot.
Still has Spore.
Yeah.
Still have that grass type, which that's kind of whatever. But
The team goes first if it wants to, right? With
Yeah.
those top 3.
but
that'd be good.
all right, let's put it on the list.
Last
I think it's right around where I'm at. Where I am. I think I like my team better though. I'm gonna put middle of C and move the Marowaks down to be my 1D tier team.
I'm putting it at the bottom, but I'm also calling it pretty good and very fixable and playable.
Like D tier is still good in this
It's just
league.
relative to everything else, right? In my
Right.
opinion, so. All right, last
All
one.
right. Last one for the Scarlet and Violet division. We've got Camo Dude with the rebranded Pittsburgh Piplups.
Right.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I get it either. Like
We've got some
That's
Six
a
days
little
not
mod.
good, but I'm
I
lost.
just, I just see
4
thick mons.
4 NFEs. I do like Dragonite, Skeledirge, Garganical, Palmot, but
Together.
yeah, but maybe together, But good mons are good mons, right?
This is another team that I feel like is very passive offensively. Like, where is your damage aside from Dragonite and maybe a Palmont close combat? Like, you can't really.
Skeledirge.
Skeledirge, true.
Decent, but it's not. Yeah, it's not insane.
You probably
offense.
need a
Pretty
torch
Frostmoth.
song to really become a potent offensive threat.
Yeah.
And aside from that, it's a lot of, like you said, NFEs and support. So I think it needs a little more juice on the offensive end, personally, especially.
Agree.
There's not a lot of special attackers here, so
Yeah.
teams can bring Reflect, they can bring Iron Defense, and then win.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I don't-
Morgrim sets up screens, but I can sword stance in front of this team usually, and so I can deal with the screens.
You're going to be
Yeah.
very reliant on Dragonite for offense.
Yeah.
Right. Which
Which is not a bad
goes.
Batmon to be reliant on, but
True.
you're also limiting yourself with that.
Yeah, a lot of these, what could potentially be value NFEs and stuff like that as well, you're beating them for free when you plan for the stronger Pokemon, right? Like, you're going to bring your rock type attacks to deal with Skeledirge and Dragonite, and so you're going to hit Fletchinder and for free. You're bringing your fighting types for Garganical and Mabostiff, so you're getting Pawniard for free. There's just a lot. You're bringing your sucker punches for Skeledirge, and so you're getting Slowpoke. There's just a lot of some of these NFEs can maybe do something theoretically. These are some of the good NFEs that you want to be grabbing, right? Slowpoke is reasonable. Fletchinder, sets Tailwind. Pawniard doesn't flinch and it has Defiant. I don't know. Pawniard's not great, but my point is they're kind of just free roll, like they're being dealt with without having to devote any brain power to them, and so they're maybe not as much value on this team as they could potentially be otherwise.
It's another team. Almost half the team is support, exclusively support, which I'm not a big fan of.
Pachirisu, Fletchender.
Yeah. Plus, a lot of Mon's going to be fighting for Eviolite if they even come. So the team doesn't feel super wide to me. The Trick Room mode does not look super strong. Garganackle is really the only slow Mon worth talking about here, and that thing wants to mostly be setting up iron defenses with Salt Cure, right?
Yeah, I've got to put respect on its name because it's really hard to beat when it changes its type up on you.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard to beat, and there's the support, the further like Morgrim screen support and all the and redirection and all of that. But just I wish this team could force the issue rather than like play on its back foot.
I will say I like the Morgrim pick with some of the top options he has. I think it fits well with the Dragonite and the Skeledirge as a way to enable them, which is kind of similar to my draft strategy, which I kind of like. That
we will see a better version of this team in the next video with Tsukaba's team.
Coming up next.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Let's we're ready to throw it on there.
Yeah, let's put it on the list. I think this is my bottom tier team, my lone D tier.
I put it in C tier.
Moving the Apex Alolan Marowaks back up to C tier, and then for the sake of a good normal distribution, I've put myself at the bottom of B tier as opposed to the top of C tier. But
one S tier in the Daddy Conference.
I promoted Dan's team.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, but I like a normal distribution.
I like it like this. I think Jace has earned it this season. I think that team is a little step above the rest.
No pressure, Jace.
I think it stands out for sure.
All right. Well, that about does it for this video. So catch us in the next one. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. And don't forget to subscribe to everybody else that was also in the video with me. All right.
And to OMG's daddy.
That's right. Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, also.